us. Leave your cheese to sour. Join us. Come and waste an hour or two. We've got magic to do just for you. Hello, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Studio Tenn Talks. I am Patrick Cassidy. I'm the Artistic Director for Studio Tenn. And this is, I believe, our 9th or 10th week of this virtual talk show, which has been hugely successful for Studio Tenn. I still can't believe it. When I put together, we were talking about it with the staff, we put together the list of the guests that have been on, and it's truly amazing. And, you know, like all other theater companies, we are in that place where we cannot do live content and do production. So we have postponed until 2021, which when we come back. So between now and then, we are still going to be doing lots of stuff. As I've said before on past shows, we launched this education program. We pulled off an incredible summer camp, and we're doing another one starting on July 6th that goes to the 9th. So sign up and get in that camp because we still have a few spots to go. And we launched the show, Studio Tenn Talks, Conversations with this guy, and it's been amazing. We have had the most incredible guests, Anna Pascal and Susan Egan and Jolie Fisher and Mike Isaacson and Scott Ellis and Norm Lewis and so many more. We have Victor Garby coming on the show. We've got Ken Page next week. You must see him. And I spoke to Kelly O'Hara yesterday, and she's going to do the show too. So anyway, it's an incredible team of people that we have going through here. And tonight we have one of my favorite people, one of the most special guests I could ask for. She and Emily Skinner, who was also a guest, and we all did a little night music at ACT. But that is not her career. She's a Tony winner, this woman. So I'm going to introduce her without further ado. She has an amazing, impressive list of her bio, her resume is crazy, but I'm going to start to say it. She is a Tony Award winner for the show Contact in 2000. And she also, I believe, won the Outer Critics Award, the Drama Desk Award, and for Outstanding Feature Actress in a Musical. She made her Broadway debut as Diana Morales in a chorus line, and her other credits include Crazy for You, Chicago, Never Gonna Dance, A Wonderful Life, Curtains, Bullets Over Broadway, Prince of Broadway. We're going to talk about that because she did that with Emily as well. And she got her first Tony nomination for Steel Pier on Broadway, playing, I think it was Rita Racine. She's an incredible talent, an incredible person. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Karen Ziemba.
Hello, Patrick.
There she is. Oh my God, look at you. What is this painting that matches our background here?
Oh, my girlfriend, Jessica Darrell Weiner, painted that. And I think it was a ballerina peeking out from behind the curtains. And I loved it so much. She says, I want to give it to you, Karen. So I just love this painting.
It's funny. And I just thought you got the memo about matching backgrounds. Colors go together so beautifully.
She's sort of with me tonight, my angel on my shoulder.
How are you, Karen?
I'm great. Well, thank you. As do you always.
So great to see you. When I was going through your resume, and I have a lot to say about it, just meeting you and getting to work with you, but your resume is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I think that you are probably the first guest that we've had that you literally started as a dancer, right?
Yes. My first professional job, actually getting a paycheck every week, was I danced with the Ohio Ballet at a time back in the 70s when there were regional companies, little professional companies all over the country, when the National Endowment for the Arts actually gave money to small arts institutions. And that's how I started. And I have danced all my life. So that was, not to pardon the pun, I had a leg up in that. It really was, that was my forte. And yet my mother loved movie musicals, and her mother was a professional singer, my grandmother. And so I was always singing and dancing. And so I felt very confident singing also.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because as great a dancer as you are, and trust me, we've got clips we're going to talk about, but as great a dancer as you are, you're equally as great a singer and as great as an actor. I mean, you are truly the version of what we call in the theater a triple threat. That's you.
Well, thanks, Pat.
True. I mean, okay, but then your first sort of Broadway show then was a chorus line, right?
Right. Yes, I was. I was working at Radio City Music Hall. I was doing a show there. I was not a Rockette, but I was doing.
How tall do you have to be a Rockette?
I think you have to be at least 5'6".
Oh,
something
really?
like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was even taller than I thought. I was going to say 5'8", 5'9".
Well, they certainly look that. It might have gone up.
Or maybe
you're taller now.
Maybe just the lower torso has to be 5'6". Less, so, however.
Well, anyway, so I auditioned for a chorus line, and there was a national tour out at the time, and I got it. And I was, as I was explaining to you previously, when you went on tour with this, you had to learn a lot of other roles, because people got sick, you were traveling, you were going from city to city to city, and people got injured. So I had 4 roles under my belt. And so that's why when I came back to New York after the tour was over, they said, get Ziemba. She knows Deanna Morales. She can go on. And this girl just had a baby. We need somebody. And that's how that happened. I was just in the right place at the right time. And I knew the role.
Did you ever get to? It's so funny that we're talking about it, and I brought up chorus line because today actually I watched on Amazon, because that's what we do. It's Hulu, it's Amazon, it's Netflix, HBO.
Right.
Have you seen this Every Little Step, which is about the making of the revival?
Yes.
And it goes with. I mean, Donna's in it obviously, and Bob Avian. Yep. But I mean, it goes with Michael's tapes when he taped all the original stories of those people. And they never got compensated for that, did they?
I know.
It's what does it say? Oh, this is so awesome. Blessings to you both from, what is it, Asheville, North Carolina. Well, welcome, Debbie. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. So Did you ever get to actually work with Mr. Bennett, or was he already gone?
He came to see us on the road, and, watch the company and just kind of like partied with us afterwards,
Yeah. Which he could do.
Yes, we could do. But unfortunately, I never got to work with him as a director. But Bob Avian and a gentleman named Troy Garza put me into the show. So I did get to work with Bob. And Bob, of course, still stages the shows to this day with Bjork.
Yeah, Bjork that's her career.
Right.
When I was the resident director at the Wynn Hotel for Showstoppers, they bought the original choreography for one. The outfits, and they paid a hefty price to use it. And she came in and taught it to all the dancers.
Best person. She'll get every single detail in there. She's a stickler for that, but that's good.
So, okay. So you do chorus line, and then what was Broadway show number 2?
Then I did 42nd Street at Majestic. It had moved from the Winter Garden to the Majestic Theater for what they thought was going to be a long run, which it was. And I got to work with Jerry Orbach.
And you were Peggy Sawyer, I take it.
Yes.
Wow.
My first Broadway stage kiss. And he taught me so much about comic timing and about just sharing the stage with someone and not pulling focus and all kinds of stuff, and giving focus. And because coming from a dance background, even though, I'd been on stage, when you're in like a 2-character scene, it's just a very different kind of energy. And he was just the best and such a great guy.
And I think I told you this, and then in the revival, my mom and I became the first mother-son to star in the Broadway musical. And I had the same. I loved that part. Oh my gosh, Julian Marsh to do that show. And we talked about this the other day, and I asked you, so I'm going to ask you again for our viewers. The opening of 42nd Street, the curtain goes up, and you see, 50 people's feet tapping simultaneously, right? Tell the story, because I heard it as sort of theater lore, but it's actually true. Tell the story of how that came to be.
I think it is. It is sort of an urban legend, but and theater lore, where the curtain was going up very slowly and kind of like stopping and not, kind of rising like it was supposed to, but it went up very, very slowly, incrementally. And you saw these people come and meet them, and it was the vigil, just waiting for it to rise and just seeing all of a sudden all these people appearing, and then all of a sudden they're all dancing together, and they wow, all of a sudden the arms go out, they do the time step, and slowly the curtain goes up, and then all of a sudden wow, it just was magical, and it was sometimes mistakes turn out to be gems.
Right, our champion saw that and said, "That's the new opening. We're doing it." Brilliant. My whole career came out of a mistake. Trust me. I know. Okay, so 42nd Street, because I mean, again, I was looking at your resume. It's just Broadway show after Broadway show after Broadway show. When did you end up doing Chicago?
Chicago was in the late 90s, I think 98. I came in, it was Annie Reinking was in the revival, played Roxy in the revival. Then Mary Lou Henner replaced her, and then I replaced Mary Lou. So I was still doing Steel Pier at the time when Chicago opened. It was Candor and Independent.
That was your first Tony nomination, Steel Pier?
Yes.
Wow.
And BB Newirth won that year. I mean, of course, she was magnificent. And then when I joined Chicago, I got to do it with BB. So she was still in the show.
Well, we are going to show a clip from that show, The Hot Honey Rag, which we just love. And it is you and BB Newirth. Yeah. But before we show this clip, I just want you to say that my dream has been to play Billy Flynn, and I've never gotten to do it.
It's time, Patrick. Oh, you'd be so wonderful in that part.
It's a good part. But I want to show our viewers the incredible Karen Ziemba and BB Newirth doing Hot Honey Rag. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can now.
It goes on and on.
So I know you guys did the playoff. It ended with like that. But first of all, amazing. So that, and it's all Fosse, right? All that. And
Annie Reinking re-choreographed it in Fosse's, in Fosse's style. Exactly. But it's very, very similar.
Hard to do?
It wasn't at the time, but I watch it now and I go like, I can't believe it.
It looks, see, the thing about, I was talking about this, the thing about Fosse is that even though I've watched him as a dancer, he was a brilliant dancer. And I know he was pigeon-toed, and I know he wore hats and all that stuff, but his style is so specific. It doesn't even look like it's like, oh, the steps are like incredibly hard or athletic or any of that, but the style is what's hard.
Right.
The way he wanted it done and the way he put that on dancers' bodies, really difficult. And I would think for a dancer to learn it, not all could, right? No?
There is a learning curve to it, absolutely, because it's very isolated and tight, and then all of a sudden you have to break out and do a cartwheel or do something very vaudevillian. He was really into that, that kind of old burlesque type stuff. But then he'd go back to that style which he learned from Jack Cole, and was sort of like infused a lot of things that he had grown up with learning, But it's anyway.
And again, a lot of sensuality.
Oh,
a sexuality in his work. I mean, it's so textured with all that, Yeah.
The smallest gesture was, the hands waving and everything.
And by the way, I have to, because it's not on your resume, I have to put, and does cartwheels too.
or did.
Oh, tremendous. So I want to talk about you and I when we worked together, and I got, of course, I had Emily on the show.
Yes, I thought Emily, she's terrific.
I adore it, as I just adore, and the two of you made that time for me so special. I got to walk you both home. I talked to Emily about that time. I got to walk you guys from the depths of the theater there in San Francisco.
And those hills downtown San Francisco are very steep, so we had very nice, slow conversations as we were walking back home at night. Yeah.
But when we worked together, when we did that, and this is a great topic. I was thinking about this. You've been fortunate, as have I, to have worked with some amazing people. And one of the things being a leading lady, and having been now I'm a very big character actor, but I was a leading man at one point in my life. And you work with a leading lady and you develop a relationship with that person. And it can be tough. I mean, for me, and I want to hear what you have to say, but for me personally, when I worked with leading ladies, I wanted to develop a relationship with them where they were my friend and I could count on them and I could trust them, right? And then at the end of the night, you go to your life and you go to your life but you come back into the theater and you have that communication, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
A lot of
really
times,
makes a difference when you
oh my
have
gosh.
friendship.
And yeah, and you worry. It was last time I was saying, you know, there have been many times where you thought somebody got more involved and you were like, whoa, because you're doing things from day one of rehearsal that in any other business you don't do. Oh, I'm now hugging somebody, I'm kissing somebody, you know what I mean? So it's but I always looked for that relationship with somebody where I felt they had me, I could trust them. And you, Karen Ziemba, the best. Getting to work with you, I knew you had my back. I knew I had yours, and we could have fun and we could work on the stage together. And I knew if I threw the ball, you were going to catch it.
Yeah. That trust is so important, and you're responsible for everybody else. It's not just about you. I mean, we are on stage every once in a while alone, singing a solo, but when you're on stage with other people, it's about all of you. You don't do it alone. No. And so it's important to be responsible and have each other's back.
I told, in every other medium, in music, it's a little bit, but definitely not in television or film, but in the theater, it is truly a collaborative effort. Everything about it. It is not, as you know, for an actor, once you're over the rehearsal process, you drive the ship, beginning, middle to end every night. It is it is the actor's medium. Whereas in film and television, it's all predicated on the director and the editor making or breaking your performance in the editing room, But all of those elements, on a nightly basis, it's so collaborative. Having the tech of the show going well, as the sound goes, when a microphone goes out, having the sound department, all the lights, I talked to this a bit with Emily about, and Jason Daniel a bit, the night that the lighting went out when the boys stripped in Full Monty. And everybody, so it's really a collaborative effort that makes it so seamless. And,
stuff happens, and you got to be there to either pick up the pieces or I should say, pick up the ball and run with it, or pass it off to somebody else, or help somebody with their line, or pick up a prop that's fallen. Or
you did that to me every night in the show. You were right there to save
you up off the floor every night.
Every night. Save the day, a prop, a line. Patrick, you're completely a deer in headlights. You save me all the time. Tell me about the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you on a stage.
Oh, probably falling during a curtain call and my legs going right under. I was in tap shoes. I remember I was actually pretty young, and I was doing this production of Babes in Arms that Ginger Rogers had directed, of all things. And but it was a lot of fun. And I just like that. Yeah, here I come. And what? And she said to me afterwards, honey, your maiden hairs were showing. I said, oops.
Maiden hairs?
Yes. Can you believe that?
I've never heard that term before. I will definitely memorize it.
That's what happens when you wear white dance trunks,
Oh, yeah.
Fall on your tuchus.
Yes, I told the story. My first Saturday night on Broadway, I split my pants.
Oh,
and I've never recovered since then. So many millions of dollars to analysts all over the country for that one moment. No, but it's also the gem of the live theater, because every single audience that gets to experience that moment remembers it, takes it, and forever has it in their head.
Yeah, and they really enjoy it and enjoy seeing how you're going to deal with it. There's that give and take, they're feeding you, you're feeding them. And it's like, how do we deal with this kind of stuff? And making mistakes like that, or things like that happen, can be really delicious sometimes.
Oh, always. Yeah. I told you, I know more people that remember that one moment that only happened to them as an audience, that they take it for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
So you've developed and had a long relationship with Susan Stroman, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or as they call her in the theater business, Stro, right?
Stro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell me about that relationship, how it started, because it's been so much of your career, right?
Yep. Susan Stroman started out, of course, as a choreographer. Well, first of all, as a dancer and danced on Broadway. She was in the original national tour of Chicago.
Mm.
And she did a few other Broadway shows and danced and then she started choreographing quite early because she just was so good at it. And she said she saw the whole picture and wanted to create and had visions, what it was going to look like. And I said, God bless you. I wish I had that. I wish I had that talent, but
it's what I had when we put this green screen backdrop together. It was a vision.
But anyway, I first met her when I was cast in And the World Goes Round, the Songs of Candor,
Sure.
which is a 5-character review of their music. And there was a lot of dancing in it. And they needed one girl who everybody had to move along and roller skate, and play banjos, and do a lot.
Did Scott do that? Was that
Scott? That was Scott Ellis directed it.
Yeah.
Right. That was the first time I'd worked with Scott too. And Scott and Stro worked together a lot. They've been good colleagues and friends for forever since they were together.
And I'll talk about that next. When we did the Sondheim thing, they both collaborated.
That's right. And so that's where it started. And after that, we just kept this collaboration going, and she would ask me to do different projects. And I've been very fortunate. And after that
how many shows have you done with it?
Oh gosh, I can't say. I'm trying to think. Crazy for you. We did, the shows at Carnegie Hall, of course. We did 110 in the Shade with New York City Opera, which was a beautiful production. Bullets Over Broadway, Prince of Broadway. What else did I do with Stroke?
And that was the last one, right?
And then Steel Pier, of course, which was an original musical that from the ground up. And
that was Candor Neb too, right?
That was also Candor Neb, yes.
So you did. Let's see. You did not Steel Pier. What was the one you said before that? You did
Bullets.
No, the other one.
Crazy for You.
Great. No, the other one. One of those ones where
And the World Goes Round. No.
What?
And the World Goes Round.
No, it was the other one. It was
Prince of Broadway.
There we ding 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 ding. So Prince of Broadway was the last one you did with her, right?
Yes.
And that's the one that Emily was in.
Yes.
Now the Prince of Broadway.
And it's partially because of her that I got that job.
Because of Emily?
Because of Emily. She was a champion for me because we'd worked together, of course, with you in A Little Night Music, and Em and I got to be friends, and we were dressing room mates at the ACT in San Francisco. And when I asked her, I said, I've heard that maybe there's something available in the show. I'd love to go up for it. And I said, there's something in there that I could do? I heard there's maybe a part open there. And she said, yeah, well, you might be able to handle that. I know that Hal is interested in asking some people that he's already worked with a lot. And I had not worked with Hal Prince before. And so when those things didn't turn out, those people did not accept the role, then I had to go. Then I went up to audition for Hal, and Hal said to me, he says, you have like a champion here. Emily Skinner said to me, you got to hire this girl. We need Karen Ziemba in this show. And I was like, it's because of her. I mean, those things really help. Because directors want to know that somebody's a team player, and he really respected Emily's word because she's such a fine actress and a great team player herself and incredible performance. So she went, he said, maybe I'll take the chance. But she helped. Now, it helped that it was Stro, too, because Stro knew that I'd rise to the occasion and do whatever the hell she wanted me to do. I always say, yes, Stro.
For our audience, I would just want them to know the Prince of Broadway was about all of Hal Prince's work, right? As a producer, as a director.
Unfortunately, not all of it, but a large chunk of it. They couldn't do it all because he did too many shows.
Yeah.
But yes, there was many, many different shows represented: Cabaret, Follies, West Side Story, Evita, Phantom. Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
A lot of nice chunks from it.
All the Sondheim, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And and even I think it was represented because my father, obviously, She Loves Me, who won the Tony
She
Award.
Loves Me was in there too. Yes.
And then, of course, the rarer one, It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman.
They did a song from that too.
Oh, they did? Possibilities?
Yep.
Yep.
They did.
Yeah, it's his work, his career is extraordinary. I said that on the show one time. I knew him. He was a very good friend of my father's, although he did tell me that your father was difficult to work with. But he said he so admired his talent. But that was one dream that eluded me, which is that I never got to work with him. I used to meet with him when I was in New York. He came to see me in shows, but I never quite found that role where I could. But what a master, and truly,
good man.
Prince
And
of Broadway.
just always looking forward to the next project, and did it till the day he left the earth. He was something.
I want to show another clip that we have. So we're doing Melissa Hurley Cassidy says, "Hi Karen, during your career, which dance icon did you get to work with that was most memorable?"
Ooh. Oh gosh. Well, I've worked with Cheetah. That's not her. I met Gwen Verdon. I didn't get to dance with her, but Cheetah, of course, is a star of Candor and Ebbs too. That they've written many things for.
Did you ever get to work with Bob?
No, I never got to work with Bob Fosse.
Yeah, that's he and my father were roommates.
Really?
Can't imagine the destruction that in New York City.
And of course I've worked with Annie Ryan King, who is a phenomenal dancer. She's a great lady too. Oh gosh, so many. BB, Sandy Duncan, I love.
Yeah.
Some people, but unfortunately, not enough.
Yeah, I will tell you, this has just prompted one quick story. I don't think I ever told you this. So when I was 9 years old, my mother was doing a movie in New Mexico with Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart called the Cheyenne Social Club.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
And my mother played I think the headmistress of a brothel. She won the Academy Award for playing a prostitute. And
Albert Gantry. Yes.
Yeah. Shirley Mae Jones, the girl next door. But anyway, Gene Kelly directed the movie. Okay.
Right.
Now, I'm 9 years old, and it was a Sunday, and we go in a car to go fishing in New Mexico somewhere. Henry Fonda is driving. Jimmy Stewart is sitting next to him in the passenger seat. My mother's in the car, and I'm sitting next to Gene Kelly to my left, and I'm 9, right? Gene Kelly leans over to me. He says, "Patrick, I'm going to teach you a movie take. Do you know what that is?" And I said, "No, I don't know what that is." He said, "This is what it is. It goes like this." So
he did that a lot in the movies.
I of course, went like this. Because that's what a 9-year-old's mechanics are physically. Then he says, "That's pretty good. Now let's do a double take." So he goes. And I went.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But for me, as dancers and all that kind of stuff that we were talking about, Gene Kelly.
I know. I met Gene Kelly when we did Crazy for You at the Schubert Theater in Century City. That's what I was trying to say. But it was still there in LA. And he came to see the show, and he was really a senior at that time. But he still had that Irish, that glitch in his eye. He came back in his sneakers and kind of like waddled him, and we were all standing around, and we were all so freaking excited. And he was saying like, "Well, I don't know about this show. It's good, but it's the story's pretty hokey." And we were laughing, and he said something. Somebody was complimenting him about something. He said, "Oh, you don't remember that old stuff." And I said, "Mr. Kelly, you're the reason we're here. We're doing what we're doing." I mean, I was like, practically bawling. I was like, it was just almost like so exciting, like he was like the Beatles to me. Gee, Kelly, oh my God, Wow.
I understand, and rightfully so. I mean, consider your career and who you'd
Right.
want to work with. I mean, Tommy Tune. I've gotten to work with Tommy.
Oh.
You said Cheetah Rivera. Well, I was talking to Mike Isaacson, who runs the St. Louis Mini Opera, and when I did the 100-year anniversary of that theater, so did Tommy and so did Cheetah, and we sat till 3 o'clock in the morning, my wife and I, just talking to them about everything, about who they'd worked with, what they'd done. Cheetah talked about working with the Beatles. It was just amazing. You're just sitting there like a sponge, hanging on every word.
Yeah.
So
those are two incredible human beings, both of them, and artists. Just great.
So you and I, we did night music together, had an incredible time, had a great bond, the show was awesome, and you and Emily off the chart. But what I didn't realize, and I said this to you the other day, you and I had met or worked together before that, and neither one of us, when we were in San Francisco, ever brought it up, or at least I did. I don't remember you saying so. We did the Sondheim celebration at Carnegie Hall together.
Right.
And I got to sing with Victor Garber from Assassins. We got to reprise those roles, and we did that thing. But you did something with Susan Stroman and the incredible, incomparable Mr. Bill Irwin, who is just as funny and as amazing as can be. And I want to show it to our audience. It's long, so we edited a little bit about it. But do you want to set this up of how it came to be and do all that?
Yes. At the top of the second act, Bill Irwin came out and he was going to conduct the orchestra and the overture for A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, because it was, big Sondheim night, and that's an incredible overture along with all of his overtures, but that's a great one. And Bill was doing it kind of a la Victor Borge, losing the music. And anyway, it went on. And then I was the pianist in the pit. And I decided I didn't want him to be doing any more of his hijinks. And I pressed a note. He turned around and it was like all mayhem. And I just said, I'm not going to be a pianist anymore. I'm going to be your seductress. And it went into Sooner or Later from Dick Tracy by Stephen Sondheim. And it was working with Bill Irwin was such a joy. He's a gentleman. He's funny and he's disciplined. And anyway, that was fabulous.
We're going to see Bill Irwin. We're going to see Karen Ziemba. You're going to hear Karen Ziemba sing like I told you, triple threat. And of course, Susan Stroman's Sooner or Later from Carnegie Hall. Bravo.
Oh, it makes me smile. It's just so much fun.
How long did it take you to rehearse and get that number down? I kept thinking, did you ever hit his head when you rolled the piano bench through him? It's like,
no, it was actually no. But getting it to move and putting seeing where my weight needed to be and just sing at the same time. What was more difficult was finding how to put the microphone in and out on Velcro that was stuck on the piano bench.
Sure, yeah.
Put it out and oh God. It's all about that microphone.
It's amazing. And as always, I watch it and I go, and she's singing and holding notes in that position. And the diaphragm is now constricted against somebody's back. Let's see what Danny Paul has to say. Shows are much better when Karen Ziemba is in them. Absolutely agrees. As lovely as she is talented. Worked Steel Pier with her, and I was Patrick's dresser for Assassins. Too generous.
Oh, wow.
Danny Paul, how are you? Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Yes, he is right. You are. Every show should have Karen Ziemba in it. I mean, look at that performance. And by the way, I am going to wear, the next time I wear a tuxedo, it will have tails when we meet. It will have tails. Just because I see the knots are so great the way you
Yes, right. Well, you did wear tails in A Little Night Music.
I did. Yeah, I mean, just extraordinary. I mean, your work. So I want to talk about Contact.
Okay.
So you won the Tony Award for Contact, the musical, and and I'm very familiar. First of all, I saw you in the show. It was great. Here's my question: who played the girl in the yellow dress?
A girl named Deborah Yates.
And did Deborah also win a Tony Award, or
she was nominated?
She was not against you.
Yes.
And you won.
I won.
You won. And we do not have the acceptance speech, although you can go to YouTube and see Karen Ziemba's acceptance speech from Contact. Now, I remember that show so well, and Deborah Yates got a lot of attention because of that yellow dress and because of how she wore that yellow dress and performed.
Right.
That yellow dress.
Yes.
But your performance was amazing. And I mean, amazing. Again, it showcased what you do and showcased what Susan does and how you guys come together and create magic.
Right.
Tell me let's talk about, though, the controversy that happened, because there was a big controversy about that show at the time, right?
Yes, the show was based on what the characters heard in their head, what they played on the phonograph, what they lived with, and how it would change. Each piece of music would change the mood, and so it was done with recorded music as opposed to live music and live musicians.
Right.
So there was a whole uproar about, is this really a musical if you're not using real musicians?
That's right.
And so it was kind of the first of its kind, and it got away with it. And if we could have afforded to have them play Tchaikovsky and the Beach Boys and Jean-Pierre Rampal and Claude Bolling and every other, there was so much music in that show because it was primarily a play with music on. And
that's what I remember about it too. There was a lot of dialogue. I mean, these pieces were pieces. They were, really thought out, smart acting, dancing, conceived pieces by Stroh.
Right. And John Weidman. Mm-hmm.
And John Weidman, of course.
And your buddy John Weidman from Assassins. Yes.
Love John Weidman.
Yeah, me too.
I love John Weidman. And brilliantly done. And you're right. They could never have afforded to have a full orchestra to play all of that. Yeah. It wouldn't have happened. And so did it get, I mean, I knew they could do performers, yourself winning the Tony Award, but it was just about, do we nominate it for Best Musical? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I believe so. Is it really, can we consider it like a musical? And because it was an entertainment, it was a piece of theater with music. It sort of was. It was.
Sure.
It just wasn't your traditional, the way it's done, so there.
And tell us all.
I understand both sides to it. I really do. I am glad that the Tony Award, the Tony committee decided that it was worthy, though, just because it was such an amazing piece of theater. And I always say it, and I'm not saying this because I'm self-effacing, even though sometimes I can be, but winning the Tony, I mean, everybody does great work. Great actors and great performers do great work in every show they do. But I have to say that when you're in a show that is also a fabulous show and you're nominated too, you have that show to buoy you. You're not swimming upstream as much.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have all the rest of those performers that were in that show and the content of it, John Weidman's beautiful spare words and Stroh's work in that.
Yeah.
And then this character that I created from myself. So it's something that it wasn't something I was playing somebody not like me or what, it was all the pieces all fit together so beautifully. And so that's when that magic happens. That's when, you're catapulted into another place because you're like, that whole thing was just really a divine evening. And
it was. I mean, I sat there. I was blown away. And you're right. John's work in it with the dialogue and the conception.
Yeah. So I have to thank the show also for my Tony Award.
How was it accepting a Tony Award? How was that whole little surreal experience?
It was quick. It was quick and wonderful and very validating.
And where do you keep the coveted Antoinette Perry?
Holds up some theater books.
Oh yeah. It becomes a paperweight, and it's amazing.
You spin it every once in a while. You go, yeah, it's still there.
Good. You are amazing. Do you remember when we were in San Francisco? Do you remember meeting my mother?
I sure do.
I
still have wonderful photographs of that evening.
You did.
She's such a beautiful woman.
Well, what you were saying earlier about, when you met Gene Kelly, and, I have been so fortunate, blessed to have, had so many friends and worked with so many incredibly talented people, but so many women, amazing actresses. I mean, Kelly O'Hara said it to me, and Patti LuPone said it to me, that, your mother was the reason I started singing. They say that, and to have that wonderful, that she's left that mark on so many young performers who became successful performers.
It's true. And she was always very, very honest and real, even, to be singing on screen and to make it sound like it's just coming out of your speaking voice and you're having a conversation with someone. Especially for a soprano, because it's so like otherworldly in a way. It's not normal the way people talk. She's in a much higher timbre. It's just somebody that can make you believe that they're just having a conversation.
Right.
And she could do that.
Yeah.
And also the fact that she was so beautiful, and you thought, I would really like to know that person.
Yeah.
I really like that person. And she's strong. She's beautiful and lovely and kind, but she's strong. She knows what she wants. Yep. She had it all. And then, of course, when she did non-singing roles, she was phenomenal too. She was just really good.
I had a lot of people growing up and said, "I want your mother to be my mother."
And then the Partridge Family. Oh my God!
Is my mother. She's not your mother, she's my mother. Well, we do. I've been playing with this little thing on this show. I don't want to completely surprise you, but I did it with Norm Lewis last week. And what we do is we're going to just a cappella, pick a little piece of music. I thought in honor of Miss Shirley Jones, in honor of the Music Man, which, as you know, is very close to my heart, we could just pick a little piece of music and just sing a little counterpart. So are you willing to do a little Goodnight, My Subman and 76 Trombones?
Okay.
And I'll allow you to start.
Okay, so I got to pick a key. Good night, my someone. Good night, my love.
While 110 cornets played the air,
I wish they may, and I wish they might.
There were horns of every shape, and sweet dreams be yours, dear, if dreams there be.
While 110 cornets played the air,
I wish I may, and I wish I might. So good
night,
my
someone.
someone. Good
Good night.
Oh, Karen Ziemba.
We did it, Patrick.
We did. We got to sing Goodnight, My Someone. I got to sing with Karen Ziemba. I'm the luckiest man in the world. Karen, I love you. I can't tell you what a
Back at
pleasure
ya.
it's been to do this. Thank you so much for being a part of this. If I call you and I bug you and I put you on the spot as I'm doing right now and say, listen, will you come out and do like your cabaret, your one woman, your whatever for Studio 10? Will you do that?
Absolutely.
You're awesome. I love you. I have a fantastic
I love you too,
time.
Patrick. Thank you so much. It was so great talking with you.
You too, my dear. I'll speak.
Bye.
Wow. I'm the luckiest host in show business these days. I get to talk to my friends, and they are so talented and so incredible. Well, that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I want to remind everybody that Studio 10, we keep our company going by your donations and by doing live theater. And right now we can't do live theater, so we're doing all virtual stuff, and we're going to get back there. But we need your donations. Keep them coming. You guys have been so supportive, and we love you for it. And it's been a great show. Next week we have Mr. Ken Page on that show, on the show. He was in the original Ain't Misbehaving. He was in the original Cats. He's going to come to Studio 10 and direct a show for us. He's already told me. We have Victor Garber coming after that, and many, many more. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And tune in. And I'm going to keep with the Music Man thing and say, good night, my someone. Good night, my love. Good night, everyone.